It's time to get your checking account to zero with free checking from PenFed. That's zero ATM fees, zero balance requirements, and zero time spent waiting for your paycheck to direct deposit because you can receive it up to 2 days early. Open your account with just $25 and see how big zero can be. Apply online today at PenFed.org/free checking. Early direct deposit eligibility may vary between pay periods and timing of payers' funding. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Bear Boat Alaska, up your DIY hunting game with one of their 37-foot adventure yachts. You and 5 of your friends can hunt, fish, set crab pots, shrimp pots, and take DIY to the next level. Bear Boat Alaska is locally owned by a Ketchikan resident who lives here year-round. Call Larry at 907-617-4542 or go to bearboatalaska.com. That's B-A-R-E boatalaska.com and tell Larry you heard about it on this podcast. Brandon Fifield, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me back in, Jeff. It's always fun shooting the stuff with you, man.
Yeah. I wanted to start off with something that I wasn't sure that you would bring up because you're not the type of dude to necessarily toot your own horn. But the sheep hunt in Alaska is that's up there. That's one of the top 1 or 2 hunts probably that people are looking forward to. And on yours, it was somewhat delayed because you had to help someone out. And we've texted back and forth a little bit about there's really no question in those moments what you do.
For sure.
So why don't you tell a little bit about the how your sheep hunt started and how it got a little derailed?
Yeah. Well, so for this year it was a little bit different. I usually carve out like that 7 to 10 day, annual hunt for this, and so this year I don't have all the time in the world as far as PTO and all that stuff at work. So I have a Fognac antlerless elk tag, and so I'm booked to go to Kodiak in October. So I had to spread my time out. Well, that being the case, I can only fit in like a 4 or 5 day kind of short sheep hunt. So I've been working with a buddy of mine who has never sheep hunted before, and he was really excited to go, and we moose hunt together. So we hunt, but so I was like, okay, cool, man. I know a spot that's not too far out of town. We can get in there relatively easy, and I've been going back and scouting it and watching a group of rams in an area, and I thought, well, maybe one of them's, get lucky, one of them's legal. So I said, let's go try it out. We have little time, we can make this happen. So we're sitting there it was on a Tuesday night, we're recording a podcast. Me and Daniel in the studio doing our thing, and I get a text from my buddy Chad, who is the guy that took me out last year into that area in the Talkeetnas, and we got a ram. Got a ram, and he was going with another guy, same area. He says, "Hey man, are you sure you don't want to come out here? I'm dead in the water. I blew a ball joint out in my side-by-side." And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay. All right, well, what's the plan?" And he's like, "Well, I'm, so-and-so miles in, and this is where I'm at." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you're not in the inaccessible area that I would be uncomfortable going to with my own machine." He's got a 4-seat 1000 Razor that's just totally modded and tricked out. He can get in some really nasty stuff that I wouldn't be comfortable with in my side-by-side that's not nearly as, built to do what his is able to do. So luckily he was, this side of that nasty stuff that I was able to get in to him. So I this is the night before I leave. I'm like, oh man. So I got to call my buddy Eric, and I'm like, "Look, man," I was like, "Chad called me. He's already called 2 other guys. They can't get to him. And, he's asking me if I can come in and bail him out." And I said, "I think we can get in and get out and still go to our area, but we're going to lose a day, maybe a day and a half. Is you cool with that? Do you still want to go?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, man." He's like, "We can't leave a guy stranded." And I said, "Well, that's exactly how I feel. I'm not, this dude's done a lot for me. He would come rescue me any place, anytime. And I know he would return the favor." So I said, "All right, well, I guess we're altering the whole hunt. We're going to go bail this dude out." So we end up So we ended up leaving the same day. Well, I was a little bit late getting out of town, so I didn't get on the trail till like 8 p.m. And I didn't realize until he hit me with where he was at. He was like at least a 3-hour ride in. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yikes.
This is going to be interesting. Well, it's been raining like hell. The rivers are high. The mud holes were deep. So it was an interesting ride in. I get about a mile and a half from him. It's now pitch black, and I blow a sidewall out on the tire of my machine. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Comes off the rim. I mean, the full, like, out of commission. I don't have a spare. I have tire plugs and tools and stuff. So I'm like, crap. So about an hour and a half, we get the thing up in the air, and miraculously enough, with 5 sidewall plugs, we get the thing beaded back on. My new air compressor my little air pump that I bought was, I call it Mini Hercules. The thing just like had just enough power to like get enough air pressure to get that tire to reseat on the bead. And you end up finally getting to him at like 1 o'clock in the morning, finally. And so kind of rewinding back on that, his buddy, Jeremy, was able to put together a nice snap-on tool bag that had the ball joint, all the bearing, all the tools that he needed, torch, hammer, everything, just all the specific stuff he needed to do the ball joint. So we get in there, get to him that night. It was cool. He had a fire going. We had, I brought some beers in, so we were able to have a few beers and kind of, hang out there for a little bit. And the next morning, he let us crash in his tent, which was cool. We didn't have to set up a tent in the dark in the rain and all that. So we set up camped with him that night, got his ball joint replaced, kind of back in the trail. And he's like, D, I'm going to run in up into this area of the valley, man. Why don't you guys just stay and hunt this area? And I'm like, you know what? I think that's probably for the best, because it's a gnarly ride out. Then we got to load back up and go back up the road and go into another area. And I'm like, man, it's just going to be so much, especially after what we've all gone through at this point. And so, yeah, we ended up just going up in the valley a little bit short of where he was going. He went in like another, 4 or 5 miles further in. So we were completely in separate areas. And he had spotted 5 rams in a bowl that we could access from where we were at. So we rode up in there, set up camp, and then we went up into a bowl and found the 5 rams. So we were super excited about that. Glass them up. I think I sent you some pictures, didn't I, Jeff?
Yeah.
And the video of them.
Yeah.
And so we get all excited. We decide we're going to hike up there that day. We find them. All right, it's getting a little late, so we're like, all right, well, let's come back in the morning. They're not going to leave. They're clearly hanging out in this bowl, and we'll come back up tomorrow and see if we can get a better look. There were 5 total. 1 was like really close. The other 4 were definitely not legal, but the 1 was worth, getting a closer look at. We were about 1,000 yards. We wanted to get maybe 500 yards away and really get the scope on him. He wasn't full curl, but we were thinking maybe he might have rings, and we were just figuring to get closer.
Have you been on one of those hunts where you've counted rings and shot rather than go full curl?
Yeah, the first sheep that I took up in the Brooks with Daniel, we found 2 bachelors together, and his was full curl and mine was 9 for sure. I was hoping he was 10 because but there was a false annual there.
Okay.
And for folks that may not be familiar with what that means, is that, there's a ring basically as the horn grows every year on a ram. You can identify these dark, like bold, dark rings on their horn from the base of their head all the way to their birth tip where it ends at the curl. And what'll happen a lot of times with rams is their curl isn't tight. Their horn grows outward, so it takes longer for that curl to get to a full curl. In this case, the ram I took, he was 9. I counted 9 rings. Daniel counted 9 rings, and I shot him. And I got a little bit of grief from the Fish and Game guys. I'm not going to lie. They thought, guy shooting his first ram ever, and you're counting rings. They were kind of questioning that, and I don't blame them because I guess if you've got 5 or 6 rams on your wall and 20-year career doing it, or a guide or something like that, you probably, can be a little bit more certified and less questionable than a guy doing it for his first time. But I mean, we got 350 yards, the closest on them. We couldn't shoot them at the time when I got that close. They were across this crazy ravine, and we wouldn't have been able to get to them if we shot them. So we were hoping he would get into a better spot the next day, which is what they did. And we ended up shooting them from like 350 yards, I think, eventually is what we did on that trip. But anyway, so to answer your question, I mean, it's not suggested, but it's legal at 8 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one, we were able to at least see 6 from 1,000 yards away we had a nice Swarovski scope, 68 mil that we took in with us there. And I thought, well, we'll just get a little closer the next day and see if we can't, get this guy to age. But I doubt he's legal, but, it's worth, we'll just still watch him. And if anything, it's just fun to watch sheep and pattern them, see what they do, watch them get up and what time they bed and feed, and just watch them and learn. It just makes you a better hunter, more educated on sheep hunting, just anytime you get a chance to watch them. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't an hour later, these 4 big ass bull caribou crest the skyline of the bowl, and we're like, holy smokes, those are some nice big caribou. We're watching them, and I was like, man, they better not come down here and blow those sheep out. And what did they do? They come meandering down the damn ridge, walk right in that bowl, and blow those rams out of there. Done.
Nice.
Done. Yeah. So anyway, we go up the next day, go back up into the bowl, hoping they would come back. We hung out there for a night, spiked out. Eric had never done that before. So it was fun to put up the teepee and backpack in and do the whole thing and go through the process. And we ended up just having a beautiful, evening there. We did hike a beer up, so we got to have a beer, watch a beautiful sunset. Woke up early, caught a beautiful sunrise, hunted it again, walked around, basically turned over every rock we could find to see if we could find a sheep under one, and no go. So we struck out, but we had a hell of a trip. Bailed a buddy out. They ended up getting a ram. Nice. So that was cool. They ended up getting a full curl up out of there, and it wasn't what we planned to do, but I feel like it was meant to be. That it all worked out.
Yeah.
I helped a buddy learn and got him into the game. Bailed a buddy out with a breakdown and got him back in and out safely so he could get back to his family and his wife. And we didn't get a sheep, but that's okay. We saw some, had a great adventure, a great time. And, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And sheep or not, I just love going through the process, and it was a success in my mind.
Yeah. There's some hunts in Alaska where it's a matter of, I don't want to say whack them and stack them. That's kind of the mentality. I have 4 blacktail tags down here. And so if I don't, get one on the first day, that's fine. Or I'm 3 or 4, 5 trips in, haven't got one yet. It's no big deal because there's still plenty of time. Sheep hunt seems like I don't know of many people who get more than 1 hunt per year. So your mindset going in, is it, okay, this is it. It has to happen, or because of all of the variables, are you like, hey, this is when we're going to try to get after it, but getting there takes a lot. Finding something takes a ton. Whether or not you can get to them is another variable. Mm-hmm. And then if they're big enough. So based on all those complications, what is your mindset for a sheep hunt compared to maybe when you head south for blacktail or even moose?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, most of the time it is just that, Jeff. You got one shot. And bad weather, good weather, you're just going to go for it. I mean, you buy all the great gear, the Kuiu, Sitka, Stone Glacier rain gear, you get all that stuff for a reason. It's for the conditions. So and my mindset is, no matter what it is, whatever it takes, I'm going to weather the storm, and the mentality and expectation is always, we're probably not going to get a sheep. That's my mentality. Am I enthusiastic and excited? And, am I prepared and ready? And do I want one? Hell yeah. But honestly, man, it's all the things you just listed is just or major complications or variables, factors, but there's so much that goes into, and then just pure luck, man. Yeah. And you just got to be lucky. And my motto is, that luck favors the prepared.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, the mindset is I'm going anyway. Now, I do have a tiny little window. I got another 3-day chunk where I can maybe go back into my original area and see if I can't go, put some eyes on those sheep. So I still kind of have that in my back pocket. My wife doesn't know about this yet. And hopefully she won't listen to the podcast. I'll tell her to skip that one. But anyway, she'll be cool with it. But so I still have a little window. So it's kind of unique. And I have another buddy, my buddy Chad, the one that went in with Gabe, and they went and got the sheep. He actually has his official 10-day hunt planned where they do a fly out and do their with his buddy Nate. So he's pretty lucky. He's got a lot of time. He owns his own business. He's actually doing 2 sheep hunts.
Nice.
So he's a guy that's kind of curbing that narrative, I guess, where you have that one time to go like most of us do. He's actually lucky enough to get to go multiple times. But yeah, man, you're going for it no matter what, Jeff. That's how it goes.
There's a subtle mindset thing too when you said that you are expecting, or not expecting, but you're thinking that the likelihood of not getting a sheep is very, very low. And so that's kind of what the expectation is, but that doesn't mean you shortchange it. When I was up on the Hall Road doing the caribou hunt with my buddy Ryan, we were talking to some dude from Kansas, and he was, just from talking with him for a minute or two, you could get the impression already that he had talked himself out of success. He said he brought his rifle and he was going to hike past the 5 miles, but he was already going home without anything. And it was, he was 2 days into the hunt or 1 day into the hunt, and he already had this idea. He'd probably told his friends he was going up to the caribou hunt, and as soon as he saw that there weren't herds moving right next to camp, or they couldn't glass something 5 miles away that he could hike to and get one for sure, in his head it was already done, and just everything he said had that sort of, it's not going to happen, 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 and like, oh yeah, he's not going to make it happen.
Yeah.
But you can go back and you can have this badass story of, oh yeah, I went to the Hall Road, the weather didn't cooperate, the caribou weren't around. Like, you can make yourself sound really, really good, even though in your mind the reality is that you actually really didn't do much. You got there and you gave a half-assed effort, you cheated the experience, and you didn't come away with anything. But I think that realistic idea of expectation is important. Otherwise, you'll get too low, or you'll get too high, or you'll get desperate and start making bad decisions.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens, man. And the hunting in general is just so physical, whether it's, sheep hunt or, even you talk about doing the Sitka blacktail stuff down there, you're climbing up and down, from sea level to 1,000 feet, you're going through it, but it's mental. It's so mentally draining, and it's easy to let the despair bleed into your mind and start making you think that maybe this experience isn't what you thought it was going to be. But you got to get around, you got to beat that. I mean, despair is hard to defeat, but you don't want to shortchange the experience. I mean, if you don't get something, that's okay, man. As long as you gave it the effort, you're prepared, you got in and out of there safely. You didn't get hurt. You didn't break anything. I mean, ultimately, you get back to your family. It's success anyway, man. Mm-hmm. It is. It's just any of these guys that go in and then they come back and they're upset that they didn't get something, and then they take something away from the experience. They're really making a huge mistake, because there's a lot to enjoy in a hunting trip. That's the harvest is just the cherry on top. You know what I mean? Like the cake is, the body of it all is all what the hunting experience is. And then, if you kill something, that's great, man. But you should never, ever, ever go into a hunt expecting that you're going to come home with a bagged animal, man. It's just, you never do that.
I've done, on the first mule deer hunt down in Wyoming with my wife, I just wanted one chance. And so I had it in my head going in. I was like, I just want one chance. I just want one chance, and I'm probably not going to get more than one chance. And so when we didn't see anything for the first 2 days and finally saw something, and it was a long way away. We were actually way back into this square of public land, and it was back near the road. So we made all that way through the you're pretty open there. There's not a whole lot of stuff to hide behind. There's hills and stuff, but there's not a lot of so there's texture, but not growth or anything, trees, things like that you can hide behind.
No foliage or anything.
Yeah, so when I got there and I missed the shot, and I thought that was it, and I put so much pressure on just get one chance, or you're only going to get one chance, that mentally it kind of broke me for a second. I was pissed because I put everything into that moment, and I worked my ass off. We worked our asses off, and we only had one chance, and I screwed it up. But then we had a couple more days left, and I had wrongly assumed that I would only get one chance. And so we rechecked into the game, and then we ended up both shooting mule deer within a mile of each other on the same day, which was awesome. And that's that.
Yeah.
If you check out mentally, either right when you get there and think it's not going to happen, or you ruin the one chance and you think, well, that's over. Or it's over. That was the one chance I was going to get. Both those mental things could be really, really damaging. You got to hammer through it, hunt the whole thing. Yep. Don't cheat the experience. So at least you're hunting on your own terms. Like, you did everything you could. Yeah. It didn't work out. No regrets.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Yeah. You nailed it, dude. Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, I'm sure you probably lost sleep that night, right? I mean, it's tough, especially if you had pictures on your phone scope, and you had video or something. You just sitting there leaning in your bag, scrolling, looking at it. It's like, what did I do? But no, you did well, man. You got through that battle, and you freaking tie your boots up tight again and get after it. You still got time. That's the thing about a hunt, man. You could get something in the first day, the fifth day, third day, whatever. If you got 10 days, you've got a chance. For 10 days. Yeah. You got to take every single day you can, every morning, every night, whatever it is you're hunting, and know that all it takes is just the right time, the right circumstance. And again, every once in a while, the luck pops in. And like you said, two mule deer within a mile of each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you didn't think that was going to happen, right?
Heck no.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plans shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Real quick question, Jeff. How'd you guys do on your haul road hunt? I never did find out.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was, it's so different up there. I knew it was going to be desolate. I knew it was going to be difficult. And then driving up was every bit as like beautiful and long as we expected. We got into Fairbanks and we drove out the road for a couple hours just to kind of get things started. We thought we were going to get to the Yukon River. That was kind of our goal that night, but we didn't get into Fairbanks until I think 9, and then hit up Fred Meyer's. And so, and it was raining. So as we were getting our stuff out of Fred Meyer, just got a little bit wet and just pulled off to the side of the road a couple hours into it and just slipped on the side. Went out to take a leak and just mosquitoes everywhere. It was just horrible. So you sleep in the truck for 4 hours, and then we kept driving. But I was surprised at how many people were up there. The haul road is definitely a hunt that's out. People have made a lot of content about that. It's a great option for people. So between the people who were like the truckers on the haul road, between the non-truckers who are just doing science stuff up there, the people who just want to drive the road to get to the end of the Dalton Highway, and then the hunters. It was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
Um,
Popular time of year.
And
That was earlier this month, though.
it was
right?
the very beginning of August. So
Okay.
and things hadn't really congealed as far as herds go. So we weren't looking at any groups. We were just a couple singles here and there. A lot of and so it was kind of frustrating at first. We thought, well, we just got to walk past that 5 mile barrier and do the work. And so we went out to that 5 mile barrier and we didn't see anything the whole time. And we were planning on camping. I thought, we can't camp out here. We're not seeing jack. So we're just going to waste a day out here in the tundra. We're stinking soaking wet. It's 39 degrees. So we hiked all the way back to the truck and we dried our stuff out, kind of recalibrated, and we went to the where the foothills start. We got out of that really flat tundra stuff and camped. There was some other people around, but then we just kind of did the road program, which we didn't want to do. We wanted to work for it. We didn't want to just drive around until we see something and then get out and try to make a stop. But that's what we ended up doing. We both ended up getting one, which was awesome.
Right on! Congrats.
So mine was a pretty small, but I wasn't going to pass it up. So
No, you went all that way, man. You got an opportunity. Put some meat in the freezer too, man. Don't pass it up.
There were a couple of times during that hunt, I was thinking back to that mule deer hunt and how pissed off I was that I ruined that. I missed that shot, and then that night, I was just ridiculing myself. And then after I ended up shooting that nice 4-point mule deer, I was almost embarrassed by like the tantrum that I threw after missing that buck. And so that kind of keeps coming back to me. It's like, man, you totally don't deserve this nicer mule deer because you were whining and you threw a little tantrum because you missed. And so after, we're not seeing caribou, and my buddy Ryan actually went to stalk one, and then 2 other people went to stalk it, and one guy got to like 20 yards. I don't know how he didn't get a shot, but there was like a little bit of mound or a little something in the way. And so that the caribou ended up kind of spooking toward me. And so I went from just watching it through the spotter to, oh my gosh, I got to get ready. So the thing's kind of coming up the mound toward me. I can see its rack, so I'm kind of making a move. And then it stands broadside at 60 yards. But I'm like, dude, I think Ryan is right down there. So I'm half expecting an arrow to come up at me from Ryan. I don't want to shoot one because if I get a pass through, maybe the arrow is going right down to Ryan. The guy who spooked it is just sitting over there watching this all happen, thinking that I'm going to shoot his bull, which wasn't his bull. It was actually going to be Ryan's bull, and then his other buddies over there watching the whole thing too. So there was 4 of us going after this one caribou, and it got away. We're just like, this is psycho. So but again, staying in the game was so big. Hey, we got more days. We're going to get a chance. It's fine. Let's just still enjoy the experience because it's so beautiful up there. People come all the way just to drive it. So the fact that we get to try and hunt it, the weather warmed up, which was nice, but it brought the bugs out. But I still get frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated, but just got to keep from getting too high, too low. And just stay focused, stay with it, and really enjoy it. Because the last thing you want to do is look back at a hunt and say, it was okay for the first day, and then I was whining and complaining for the rest of the whole time because I didn't get the deer, or I didn't get the caribou on the first try, and so I ruined the rest of the hunt. Just staying with it is so big. Yeah,
that's great, man. I love that story, and I appreciate your honesty in, saying stuff like, I threw a tantrum. I mean, we've all been there. And I think it's just like what we were saying. I think we were exchanging some text the other night, man. When you're just so damn passionate about it and loving it so much, that's why you get so frustrated. That's why you get so angry. That's why you threw a tantrum, because you invest so much blood, sweat, tears, money, time into it, man, because you love it so much. You love it so much. So it's the highs and lows are pretty extreme emotionally. I like calling it a tantrum too, because it doesn't sound good at all. I don't want to sound like I'm entitled to being frustrated. Like, everyone's entitled to being frustrated, but then if you validate your reaction and it's a little bit much, you're not trying to hide it. Like, okay, drama guy, like, what are you doing? Like, stop it.
everyone gets frustrated. Like people strike out in the MLB and they get pissed off, but by the time they're back to the dugout, it's good. You break your bat if you're Bo Jackson.
Yep.
But by the
Yep.
time you're back, okay, that's over. I was frustrated. Now it's over. Next pitch, next play, next whatever, and you got to get out of that.
Yep.
I think if
Move on.
if
Move
you
on.
stay in that down period too long, you're just going to ruin the rest of the hunt, and no one wants to hunt with you probably.
Yeah, and I've had to kind of mature over the years with that. I run pretty high on the emotional side. I'm a very emotional person. Everybody that's close to me knows that I wear my heart on my sleeve, both for just my love and passion for my friends and family, frustrations. I get mad at you know it, and I've had a lot of growth in the last 15 years. Just obviously, you get older, you mature, you get a little wiser. But I've really had to reel back the negative emotional side of handling things on hunting trips or even just camping trips with the family. It's just, just a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes you get pissed, and I had to really reel that in these last few years and learn, man, you're just doing yourself a disservice and your partners around you getting pissed off and throwing a tantrum and bringing down their experience, and it's I finally started to kind of look at myself in the mirror, knock that shit off, dude. You want to have your own thing going on. Don't ruin it for everybody else, you know? And so I still have my moments, but I have definitely learned a lot and matured and reeling that in and being better about that. But man, sometimes it gets the best of us.
Yeah. And I was hunting with my wife too. So the last, not on the caribou hunt, but on the mule deer hunt, I thought, man, this is also a very poor strategy, because if I'm the Hulk around her, she's not going to want to hunt with me. And
I don't want to do this
so
with this guy anymore.
it was not smart at all. I think there's like 4 elements of a hunt. It's like the hike or however you get there. There's the camping part, there's the company part, and then there's the result. Obviously, the result is what we're more emotionally tied to. But I think if you look at it as the different pieces, then I think that really benefits everything. So if the hike and it's brutal, yet you get there, so you feel like you challenge yourself and you max that thing out. If the camp is good, it's got what you need. Even if it is rainy, you got what you need. You feel prepared. You feel safe. The people that you're with are awesome. Like right there, if you're maxing those 3 things out, you're at 75 out of 75. And so if you end up not getting anything, it's still like a B. You still have such a great experience, or maybe you make a stock but it doesn't work out. That's still an amazing experience. If you put everything into the last part, the result, then you're just setting yourself up.
And every once in a while, you get the cherry on top. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. In fact, this year for moose hunt, right? We're leaving here next Thursday for our moose hunt. We kind of do a batting order with our opportunities, right? So I got a moose last year, right? I was up to bat, so I got a moose, and now 5 of us are going in this trip. We have my buddy's 14-year-old boys joining us, and I'm literally taking a back seat and have zero intentions of taking an animal on this moose hunt. The other guys are up to bat. We don't need 4 moose. You know what I mean? And so my mental preparation is I am going to cook, have coffee ready every morning, serve up cold beers and just kind of roost around and cut firewood and call and rake and glass. And I'm going to do my part, and I'm totally good with it. I am prepared that I'm not taking anything myself. I want to see the other guys have success, have an opportunity, and my time will come. I'll get my chance again. But, and it's actually awesome. There's no pressure. Yeah. No pressure at all. I'm man, this is the most relaxing preparation for a moose hunt that I've had in a long time. Outside of all the crazy kind of chaos of preparation that's been going on the last week, there's that. But as far as going in, I'm just going to go in and hang out and have a good time with my guys, man. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, that's such a fun element of the hunt, is just being the packer. Like you said, there's no pressure, but you're still just as engaged. Everything, you get to do every single thing except for pull the trigger or release the arrow. I mean, it's just as great. But it's amazing how many people aren't really into that. My buddy Ryan has a story about they went up blacktail deer hunting, and his buddy shot one, and Ryan helped him pack it, and then they were back at camp, and he woke up early the next morning, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm good. You go ahead." Just like, oh man, like Ryan helped the guy out, helped him pack the deer out.
Yeah,
So
he just checks out.
yeah, the unwritten rule is like, all right, I helped you, now you help me. Let's get after it. But yeah,
Absolutely.
he just stayed in the tent and slept in, and I thought, man, the audacity! I can't imagine doing that. The ball's on that guy to just say, no, I'm good.
Yeah. What the hell? Well, that's just, and sometimes you don't know that about a hunting partner until those moments, and then you're like, okay, well, I know who I'm not going to invite on a hunt next year.
Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't make them bad dudes. They just, they don't know the etiquette. They didn't know, that's kind of the unwritten rule, man. Like it's a team effort, and that's the thing about sheep hunt, caribou hunt, moose hunt. It is everybody's vested, and everybody has success in it, even if just one guy gets to shoot something.
Yeah.
It's a group effort, and it has to be mutual. So.
Yeah. How does I know moose hunting is notorious for being super secretive. I know people are very secretive about sheep spots too, but it seems like a lot of people go to very, very specific spots for moose, whereas sheep, it's kind of, well, maybe try this spot this time. How does revealing your spot or getting your group together differ between a sheep hunt and a moose hunt?
That's a good question. Well, one thing is it's a totally different group of guys. So Daniel's one of my sheep hunting partners. We've gone out on several hunts together and had different guys come in with us. So, but we're pretty much, that's my sheep hunting team, I guess. And then I've got my moose hunting crew, which is just a separate group of guys. And we found our spot 11 years ago. It's definitely not top secret. There's a lot of other hunters that are in the area, but and we got a lot of grief from some of the hunters in the area there because they kind of felt like we're stepping on their toes because we're from Anchorage. And I was like, oh, well, just because you're from Anchorage,
you're
in
a big
our
city.
backyard.
Yeah, you're an enemy.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, man, I put in the effort and bought all the equipment and have all the stuff to get out here. I'm just as much, welcome, in this public land to come hunt as you are. And I'm not going to step on your toes or shoot a bull from under you. So don't worry about that. We're going to be camped 20 miles away from you. So, we ironed out some of that stuff. And now those guys, we swap, parts and tools, and, I leave gas in the boat and tools. And I tell those guys, hey, if you need fuel, you need tools, you need anything, it's in my boat, you go for it. You know what I mean? I want to make sure they get out too, at the end of the day. And so, but yeah, so the sheep hunt thing is it's so much different, right? Because the food and all the stuff you're getting ready is so much different from moose camp. Moose camp is coolers of beer, steaks, pre-made spaghetti. And I mean, we eat so good. And so it's funny now we've got a text thread going with the group, and we're actually doing okay, I've got 3 dinners. Okay, I've got a dinner. Okay, I got 2 breakfasts. Okay, I've got this much beer, and okay, I'm bringing this water. I'm bringing the, so each guy has almost his responsibility for his meals, and he's going to bring snacks, and okay, I'm bringing this much beer. You're bringing this much beer. So we've got a nice group communication, and it's gotten better over the years. So now we kind of know what this guy's going to bring and what that guy's going to bring. So we're not bringing extra stuff. The sheep hunt's everybody's individual stuff's just going in a backpack, right? This is a huge community shared type activity. So it's way different in terms of the preparation. I don't know if I really answered your question clearly there, but it is way different. It's more of a community preparation. And then of course our logistics are a lot, man. We got to drive a long way. We're going up and down a river, we go way, way deep in there. In fact, I was just telling a guy last night about the logistics, and I started thinking, I'm like, God damn, man, we could definitely hunt moose way closer to home and not have to go through all this. And we bought all the equipment and got ourselves set up. We've had a lot of success, and, we love our camp. We leave a bunch of stuff up there now. And it's really just a place we all look forward to going to, really kind of like a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the other side of it too. The sheep hunt's such a mission where you're going to backpack around and you're going to almost kind of put yourself in miserable circumstances, right? Whereas the moose is like, man, we're going to hang out and sit on a camp chair with a set of binoculars and a cold beer. You know what I mean? So it's like the mental side of, getting ready for it is like, we're really kind of just going on like a dude's trip to go hang out and drink beer and look for moose, man. It's like, it's pretty chill.
Yeah.
So
that was the cool thing about having the rental on that haul road was that we could come back to the truck every time. We were prepared to go out there, and we had, meals set up. So in case if we just need to walk, then we're going to take camp. We're going to take some meals. We're going to give it 2 days. So in case we shoot something, we can come back. We were prepared to do that. But it was so nice to come back to the truck. And we had extra food there, and we had sandwich stuff in the cooler, so we didn't have to get in and eat freeze-dried meals the entire time. So it was super, super nice. And then you come back and you kind of, put the sweats on and get out the camping chairs and have a beer, do some glassing, and just and just relax.
It's nice having those creature comforts, man. It is really nice. And I love the whole like living out of the backpack. Freeze-dried meals, bars, trail mix and jerky and cheese and all that's nice. But man, it is really nice to be able to come back, sleep on a cot in a tent with a hot meal and a cold beer. It's just nothing better than that when on a hunt, man.
Yeah, it's really hard to compare hunts when people ask me like what my favorite hunt is. And like, well, I've packed for someone on a mountain goat hunt, and then it's just been bear. Deer and caribou here, and then elk down south, and mule deer and antelope down south, and they're all just so different. Antelope is so frustrating because you're on this just unbelievably, unforgivably flat terrain. Elk is elk, and everything that people say about how amazing it is and the feeling you get when you hear an elk bugle, that is 100% on. Like, it is unlike anything.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But then your alpine deer. It's just you're here in your home in your backyard, and this is what you've been gearing toward. And then spring season when the black bears are starting to come out, and it's the first hunt, so that one has so much weight because if you get one or not, who really cares? You pass up on some decent bears, but it's the beginning of camping season. You made it through another winter. It's time to get after it. So It's like saying, what's the favorite fish to catch? Yeah, halibut from way deep is fun, and it's big, and you get a whole lot of meat, but there's nothing like watching a trout come to take your dry fly. It's
right.
There's no sense in really ranking them because they're all just amazing in their own way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You were, as you were saying that, I was thinking that too. I'm like, man, what is my favorite? And I guess I could say moose just because of that. The all the nuances I explained before, with all the beer and the camaraderie and all the stuff, but they are all their own individual cool things. Like, because I've gotten into spring bear hunting these last 6 years, really, really hot and heavy, and I love that, man. That is fun. There's nothing cooler than going looking for bears. And you're right, man. You're breaking out of the den, so to speak, right? And you're getting out of hibernation, and you're out getting fresh air and hiking around. And usually in spring there's no bugs yet, so you're hunting around. You're not getting eaten by mosquitoes, and you're right. They have their own cool, unique, level of experience of an experience, and it's hard to compare them. They're all fun, man. I just love it all. Yeah.
So you got moose, and then maybe sheep for the wife there. But what else? What else are you looking at?
Yeah, so I got that a fognack hunt.
Oh, the elk. Yeah.
Cow. So we're gonna go fly in on the 8th of October, and get in. We've got basically a 10-day hunt scheduled there. My cousin and I both drew a party tags. We both have 2 antlerless, so basically 2 cow elk tags. Obviously I'd love to have a bull and be able to, get a big bull and a beautiful set of, Roosevelt, elk antlers. But man, anytime I have an excuse to go to Kodiak, I've been there hunting a couple times now, it's such an awesome place, beautiful, unique, really, really neat place. And I've never been on a Fognac Island. My buddy Chad's coming along. He's done the hunt 3 times. So he's very, very, very knowledgeable in the area. He has a pretty good idea where the herds might be. And so we've kind of got almost like a guide type presence that'll be with us, which is great. And he's just an animal physically as far as helping pack. And, elk are pretty damn big animals.
Yeah.
Even a cow's, probably pushing 700-800 pounds. Right. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about that. My cousin and I are really pumped. We put our deposit down and booked our flight with Island Air. So that's one that's like, we've been, obviously you got to do one thing at a time, right? We went hunting in the spring for bears. Me and Chad got a nice big brown bear. And then, we got our sheep hunt in, that was fun. And now, moose is coming up but we're really, really, really licking our chops for that elk hunt, man. Cause It's just new. It's new, it's exciting. Moose camp's cool. We're going to the same place. We know kind of what to expect. But with the Fognac thing, it's all new, and that's so exciting when you go somewhere you've never been and see stuff you've never seen. It's got its whole dynamic of danger with, weather, small aircraft, obviously Kodiak brown bears, are going to be lurking around. And so it's really, really exciting. And I'm super pumped for the adventure that is in store for us on that hunt, man. So that's that one we're looking forward to. And then I'll come back and probably get out at least one weekend with my buddy on his kingfisher, and we'll get out and see if we can't find some blacktail too. So
nice.
We got that on the horizon as well. Weather dependent, of course.
It just goes fast, especially now. It's like when you get to late August, it's that tipping point. So the whole summer, there's a lot of stuff to do, but there's also a lot of time. But once August hits and then it becomes September, it's just over that lip, and before you know it, it's time to put in for the stuff that you're not going to draw next year, at least for me. But I don't put in for a lot of those easier to get ones. I'm pretty satisfied with the over-the-counter possibilities, but then it's the logistical things for some of those up north hunts that need to make happen. So we'll see.
Yep.
Well, I got to go pick up wife from the airport. She's getting back from Wrangell, and I think either tonight or tomorrow morning we're gonna head up a mountain. It's supposed to rain a lot, so maybe we'll hit a low or a high muskeg or something like that. We'll see what the weather permits.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's so cool that you get out with your wife and go hunting with her, man. That's amazing. Yeah, my wife is outdoorsy. She loves hiking and getting out and fishing and camping, but she's not much for the hunting aspect. So I admire folks and couples that get to go hunt together. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, she's a good shot. It's pretty fun. She's got a really nice nice Weatherby, and she puts the bullets where they need to go.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. And you guys get to share those experiences together, man. So
yeah.
I figure a hunting trip could easily make or break a marriage.
Hey, you know what? She stayed with me through the tantrums. So
Yep.
But those are things of the past. So yeah. But hey, man, always great talking to you. Really appreciate it. Make sure you check out Brandon, Jack, and Daniel on the Alaska Wild Project, and I think that'll do it.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate your time, man. I look forward to talking to you again. We'll maybe get together here tail end or end of the hunting season, share some more stories.
Sounds good, man.
Take care, Jeff.
Cool.
Have fun out there.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right, bro. Take care. Bye-bye.